it's accepted that the criminal justice system is very good, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. For some, it gives them answers and gives them a result when they see the offender punished, and that's right and proper. But for others, the criminal justice process, the existing process, leaves them frustrated with unanswered questions and nowhere to go really to get closure on their particular case. So, it's probably important to recognise exactly what is restorative justice, because there's certain sort of misinterpretations of exactly what it is. In its most sort of simple format, it's just really communication. It's bringing victims and offenders and those that have been harmed by crime, family members, neighbours, and anybody that's been touched by the consequences, into communication. And that can happen either face-to-face, through shuttle communication, videoing, whatever's a safe way, whatever way the victim chooses to take that opportunity.
Do many victims want that kind of interaction then with those that have committed the crime against them?
Well, this is early days for us in Sussex. What we are led by is the sort of recent academic evidence which was collected by the Ministry of Justice. And what that showed was that over a 7-year period, that there was extremely high victim satisfaction rate for those that chose to actually participate. 85% of victims that went through the process actually said that they would do it again and that they were really satisfied with it.
I suppose what it does is gives them the opportunity to tell the person who's committed the crime exactly what kind of impact it's had on them, and I suppose humanise themselves, because people that commit crimes must almost forget that these are other people that they're acting against.
Yes, so you're absolutely right there. I mean, I've heard that some offenders view victims as purely an A4 sheet of paper. It's just a name. It's not somebody that they've ever met before on occasions. And for the first time, from the offender's perspective, they're put in what could be a very awkward position of actually having to look the people that they've harmed in the eye and provide an explanation why they've done that.
Is this an easy way out for criminals to get out of a tougher sentence?
Well, the victims and offenders that I've spoken to, particularly the offenders, this is not an easy ride. It's a planned and considered process. We don't just throw people into a room, that's boxing. This is very much a professional process conducted by professional qualified facilitators to ensure that there's no chance of any re-victimisation. And offenders, it's a difficult ride for them. One of the principles is that there should be a free flow of emotions. So sometimes there can be finger waving, there can be raised voices, there can be table thumping. It is to allow all those expressions and emotions to come out in a controlled way.
You mentioned that the victims often feel very pleased that they've been involved in the process. What about reoffending rates after this? Does that reduce those?
Yes, the national academic evidence that the MOJ have attributed this funding to, because they've been very persuaded by that evidence, suggests that for every £1 that you invest in restorative justice, you save 8. That this process also reduces the frequency of reoffending from somewhere between 14 to 27%. So this is about doing something different. It's an innovative approach to stop the revolving door of offending. That is one aspect. We must think differently about how we treat people that do turn to crime and try to rehabilitate them. But I really want to emphasise this is about victims. This is about giving them answers to their questions. It's about empowerment and giving them options. The criminal justice system is extremely useful. It needs to be there. But it has been described as a blunt instrument on occasions. And what this provides is an additional service for victims to choose if they wish. For this to work, all participants must actually agree. We can't force the issue. And when we're developing a case, we take our lead from the victim. The service is designed around them. We've got a small group of victims in Sussex that have been through this process already, and we use their experience and insight to actually develop our services.